What's happening, Panda Nation? Peter Von Panda here. I want to talk to you today about golf, hole-in-ones, and winning cars because it sucks. Now, I can't tell you this from personal experience, but I have now encountered a few situations where people have won cars, and I've actually seen this even in some interviews. So, some people I don't know, some interviews where golf pros were talking about winning a car on a hole-in-one. So, what I didn't know, and this isn't going to be that long, is that I always thought when they put that BMW back there, that Lamborghini, that Ferrari, or that Mercedes crowsfoot, whatever, behind the hole, and whoever's playing that hole steps up, hits a hole in one, you get that car. I just thought that was underwritten by the insurance company. The chances of hitting a hole in one are minuscule. Long holes, even more if it's a 90-yard hole, probably twice as many hole in ones, even though it's probably a fraction of a percent. 170, 180-yard hole in one, 230. I played a golf course that had a 212-yard par three. I can't imagine a ton of hole in ones on that. But what I realized is that the hole in one car winnings are not what I thought. And in fact, this wasn't a hole in one, but a friend of mine actually went to a charity raffle, and the grand prize was a Volvo. And I thought that was pretty cool. And she won it. And then she didn't really want a Volvo because she already has a car. And they were like, "Well, it's actually a lease. It's actually a 1 year lease. So you can just take the cash if you want. I don't know, 5 or 6 or 7 grand maybe, or something like that, minus the taxes, because you got to pay that, which is absolutely the way to go, because otherwise you're going to take the lease, you're going to have to pay the tax on it anyway. But that's what the hole in ones are. Even for these charity events, most of them are like a 1 year lease for this BMW, right? All right, there's this 3 series or 5 series, and it's 1 year. What would a lease be on that? $700 a month? Yeah, you're talking about like $9,000 in compensation in a prize, but you still got to turn that car back in. You don't own it. $9,000 certainly seems a lot different than maybe the 50, 60, $70,000 that it would cost. And so I think it was an LPGA event a while back, and it was a Lamborghini on the hole in one thing, and she hit a hole in one, jumped in the Lamborghini. It was pretty exciting. I don't know if that's even the car per se, but then I heard an interview, and they were like, "How do you like that Lamborghini?" This was months later. "You won the Lamborghini. Tell us about that." And she's actually, I just took the cash because it was a 1 year lease. Now, a Lamborghini lease is probably $3,000-4,000 a month for 3,000 miles a year, but you're going to take the $30,000 or something like that. Would you? I don't know that any of these actually win the car. If you know of a tournament where you actually win the car outright and maybe even get cash, have seen some of these raffles. I don't remember what they call them. They're like ticket raffles. You buy a ticket to win the Corvette or win this, but it's the Corvette plus $20,000 to pay the taxes, which seems a little bit like you're chasing your tail, because now do you give them money on top of the 20,000 to pay the taxes on the 20,000? I mean, it's eventually it diminishes, but on some of these, the raffle wins you the car, wins you the money to pay the taxes, because in many cases, if you do win the car, a lot of people sell the car anyway because they can't afford the taxes on it. So if you win a $50,000 car, you have to declare that as income generally. I'm not an accountant, so please check with your financial professional on this. But let's say I win a $50,000 car, I have to declare $50,000 in income. Depending on your tax bracket, you may have to pay $15,000 on that. So, and you have to pay that. It's not really worth, let's call it worth 20,000. No, it's just, that's how it is. It's the sticker price. When you do your taxes, you've got to declare that as income. And when it comes down to how much you've withheld, it's probably not including another $1,200 a month. And so you got to pay that. And a lot of people are like, I don't even have that. So they just sell the car. They get $35,000 for it. They pay the 12,000 in taxes, and they pocket the other 20. You know what I'm saying? It was actually the Oprah thing. You get a car, you get a car, you get a car. She got sued later because people wanted the tax on it. I thought that was a little greedy. I get it, but you got a free car. You could sell it and just net out the money that you would get. But I don't think there's any obligation to give you the tax money. But yeah, different story, different farm, different cow. But what I am saying here is that you do that, you put these cars out there on these hole in ones. It looks all flashy. Everyone gets really excited. Everyone assumes, I think most people, 99% of people assume that you get that car, you own that car, just because of the long odds of hitting a hole in one anyway. And yet, then you only get the lease. It's basically like borrowing a car. If you get a hole in one of this, you get to borrow my car for a little while. Yeah. Yeah. And you probably still have to pay taxes on that. So I have seen a number of people when they get asked about the hole in one cars, they're like, I didn't actually take it. I just took the money instead. I might just take the money instead anyway, even if I won the car. But in most cases, because it's a lease, because people have car, because they're not going to, if you're a professional golfer, you're not going to put your BMW into the garage so that you can drive this leased Mercedes for a year. Maybe you would, but you still got your other car and you're going to have to hold on to it because a year from now, this car is gone too. And especially, what if it's a worse car than what you drive? Check this out, hole in one Honda Accord. And you're like, I drive a Bentley Continental GT, so no. Anyway, I've never had this problem, never had a hole in one, never even come close to a hole in one on a hole that was sponsored by anything. Have come close to a hole in one a couple times on some kind of garbage courses that no one was there to witness. But I think offering a lease on a car for something as glorious, majestic, rare, and exciting as a hole in one is a cop out. It's a lot of pomp and circumstance without a lot of actual meat on the bone. It looks better than it really is. It shows better than it really is. I'd love you to either get the car or just say, hey, there's a cash prize, because I don't think people want the lease. Anyway, just my thoughts. Would you take it? Do you want the lease? Would you take a lease? Would you get rid of your car? Would you be like, hey, my car sucks. I'll sell that car. I'll drive this lease for a while for free, and then I'll figure it out a year from now. That could possibly be a decent strategy, but I always thought they got the car. I was disappointed to learn they did. That's it. Peter Von Panda, out.